Okay, I want to use this to cover pterodactyls. Now, this was shot in Idaho. It purports to be a pterodactyl. Don't know if it's true or not, but its movement is pretty natural. Now, the way they have drones now, this was shot a couple of years ago, but anyhow, I'm putting that out there. But this one looks pretty legit to me. I mean, like I said, it was 3 years ago. It looks pretty natural movement to me. Could be wrong. Anyway, using that to start the video off here. So, really want to talk about the recent deaths of the dinosaurs. Now, in the Bible, they're called dragons, and folklore calls them monsters. The word dinosaur, everybody says, well, dragons, dinosaurs weren't mentioned in the Bible. The word dinosaur wasn't invented until the early 1800s. The first dinosaur was an iguanodon that they found, and he just calls it a dinosaur, which means terrible lizard. I want to bring up a little story. Now, I didn't know it at the time, but one of my elementary school teachers said she saw a pterodactyl. Now, it was in the Light magazine, which is now defunct. San Antonio used to have two newspapers, the Light and the Express. The Express still exists, but the Light's defunct. But anyway, her and two other teachers saw the pterodactyl, and she seemed to be a pretty sharp lady. And anyway, these are Quetzalcoatlus northropi, a type of pterodactyl, and that's them without a representation of them without flesh and with flesh. Now, the standard line tells us that all dinosaurs were destroyed 65 million years ago, and you can't say anything against that, even though lots of stuff, every country has legends of dragons and monsters that, strangely enough, resemble many dinosaurs. Wouldn't it make sense that of all the dinosaurs, even though these were technically reptiles, the way they count them, even though, remember, these are divisions of men, even though the flying pterodactyls and even this one is considered a reptile, wouldn't it make sense that something that could get up and move large distances very fast could get away from environmental disasters? I also want to point out that Herodotus, the father of history, talked about when Alexander the Great was invading India, that they came upon a valley that they were being attacked by large flying dragons that lived in caves along the top of the hills, the mountains there, and they had to rout them and kill them. And from their description, it's one of these things. So, pterodactyl sightings up until recent times. They've also found soft dinosaur flesh. I'd like you to check out Dr. Mary Schweitzer. She was on 60 Minutes, and this is about 10 years ago when they first found, and her and Jack Horner actually found. Jack Horner is basically the world's most famous paleontologist. They cracked open some bones, some dinosaur bones broke by mistake, and they found soft tissue in them. Now, the tissue wasn't alive, but is identifiable. It hadn't fossilized. And there's many dinosaur bones that are not fossilized. Remember, fossilization has to happen fast, and it replaces the tissue with calcium and various other sedimentary pre-functions. But they found now 9 different kinds of dinosaurs with soft tissue and actual blood that they can identify. Now, there's no mechanism by which flesh could last 65 million years. Mary Schweitzer said was starting to be ostracized by her by the communities because she was saying that. And she says, well, we don't know what the mechanism is, but there obviously is a mechanism that allows them to live for 65 million years. So she backtracked a lot. Dr. Mark Armitage was teaching his students how to harvest the said tissue in the dinosaur bones. And I have a theory about the dinosaur Sioux, the T-Rex, the most complete skeleton found that was seized by the federal government. They made up a story of why it was seized. I believe it was seized because since it was the most complete, it was probably the youngest. And if you break open the large frills of like Triceratops there and large thigh bones, that's where you find the majority of this soft, dead dinosaur tissue. It's so bad sometimes in the Hell Creek Formation in the Dakotas, they call it the Smell Creek because the flesh is putrefying. Some of these dinosaurs only died a couple of thousand years ago, and they were rapidly buried. So anyway, keep that in mind. Dr. Mary Schweitzer, soft dinosaur tissue. Dr. Mark Armitage. Check out the works of Trey Smith, Ken Ham, and Kent Hovind, and I have more on timosplace.com. If you would, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. I'm out.